Welcome back. You're watching NBS. This is your political command center. And this morning we'll be talking about the sector that is very, very prominent to many houses in this very hour. Like I'm talking about the breakfast. You cannot run to 10 houses and 8 of them do not have milk as their breakfast commodity to take as they're opening up the day. This morning we'll be talking to the Executive Director of the Dairy Development Authority, Dr. Michael Kansime, to explore more of the dairy sector, how far they've come, how far they are supposed to go, and what is their trajectory rates in terms of the milk in this nation. Welcome to the show. Now, this is a show that we're going to be talking about milk, and milk.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Julius, and good morning, viewers.
All right. First things first. Anybody would ask, what is Dairy Development Authority?
Dairy Development Authority is an agency of government in the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries that was created in 1998 and operationalized in 2000 to regulate the dairy sector. You very well know that there were reforms that divested the economy, and dairy sector, which was earlier run controlled by government, was put in the private hands. Business people to do the processing, do the transportation, to do the production. So that means there was a need to see what everybody is doing. As you very well know, business is motivated by profit, and some people may do wrong things in an effort to make profit. So they needed a regulator to see what everybody is doing to ensure quality and safety for the health of Ugandans. So the Dairy Development Authority was created to do that, to help in regulation and to help in the development of the sector and to promote milk consumption. As you very well know, people don't drink milk. When they drink a lot of it when they're children, when they grow, they think they no longer need it, and yet they require it at all ages and all levels of life. So we need to promote drinking of milk, and that's one of the things that we do. We develop the sector, we regulate the sector, and promote the drinking of milk.
All right. What have you done in the establishment of increasing milk in this nation?
Julius, that is a really broad question. What we have done to produce the milk. First of all, we needed to know where the sector was before even we know what we are doing now. Records show that by 1971, that is when President Amin took over, records show that the whole of this nation was producing only 20 million liters of milk.
That was in 1971.
21 liters of milk. By that time, I think there were about 13 million Ugandans.
That was in scarcity.
It was in scarcity. Not even, if we distributed that among the population, each one would get like half a liter, 1 liter or something, which was acute scarcity.
And called for malnutrition.
Yes, malnutrition, of course. But the country was being supported by mostly Kenya. Kenyans were producing a lot of milk. And by that time, milk would be imported, even fresh milk would be imported from Kenya to Uganda. There was some milk in tins. I don't know whether you saw it. It was very sweet. Concentrated and evaporated milk was imported. Uganda was also importing milk from Netherlands, from New Zealand, in powder form, and then reconstituting it to make sure that we have milk to feed the people. So by that time, Uganda had 3 factories. By that time, there was a Kampala plant, which we all know in Bugorobi. That Kampala plant was producing 65,000 liters.
Not even close to a million.
65,000 liters is so little milk that one division in Kampala even is not enough if one division has to drink milk. But now supplying for the whole country. We had the Mbale plant. This Mbale plant, the capacity was 30,000 liters. You know, nowadays we have farmers who are producing 30,000 liters alone on a farm. We also had the Entebbe plant, which was largely for training people who are to work in the sector, in processing, and it was producing only 6,000.
Isn't that the one that is next to the airport? That
is the one. It is still, it's now being revamped by Direct Development Authority to offer training and professional services to farmers. So by that time, milk was almost not there, 20 million. But as you know, as the regime of Amin, many things went wrong. There was a lot of theft of animals, corruption, and all that degradation of the economy that took place. And milk, instead of increasing, started reducing. Because by 1977, the whole country could produce 16 million liters, just 16 million liters in 1977. Then you remember what happened. What happened in politics affected what happened in milk. Remember the war of 85 almost disseminated our national herd, because by that time even there was a lot of Karamajongo rustling, a lot of Teso, a lot of northern east part of the country, and northern country, almost the cattle population was disseminated, removed and killed and all that. So by 1985, we had 3 million liters of milk. You know, the population is growing. The animals should be growing, but they are not growing at the rate to produce more milk. So when you are talking about the dairy sector now, and you do not know where it came from, you really cannot understand very well or what you are talking about. I can comfortably say that when NRM came to power in 1985, and liberalization was made, the liberalization of the dairy sector was done in 98 there. By that time, in 1998, our production in 1998 was about 400 million liters of milk. And then liberalization took place. The production, of course, had been in the hands of private sector, farmers, Rocco, your father, my father. But then the transportation, the cold chain management, the processing, our 3 factories were sold, were liberalized. And that marked the beginning of the great development of the sector. The private sector came in, revamped the production, revamped the milk chain, milk cold chain in the country, and we started to see growth. And as we speak right now, we are able to produce 2.8 billion, not million, billion liters of milk. And that necessitates a lot of vigilance on the part of Direct Development Authority to ensure that clean milk is produced. It's produced and handled in clean equipment, is transported in clean equipment, is processed in a clean way and packed. And as I speak right now, the dairy sector is has one of the commodities that we export to Europe, that we export to America, that we export to Japan. These are lucrative markets. When I became executive director, many people asked, but we don't hear DDA, we don't hear DDA. in the media like NBS everywhere and MTN everywhere. We are in the food business. We are in food business, and food business is very, very unique. Yesterday, but one, I took my family out in one of the restaurants in Kampala. So they served, and when they served, I like Chinese food. So they brought in the sweet and sour pan, there was a fly. So when I opened it, I saw the fly, and I covered very well, and I signaled the waiter to take it away. And I ensured he poured it in the sink. Not even my wife saw what I saw. So when you're in food business, you don't blow. I have seen a fly, everybody, there's a fly here.
You could
not eat the
you could
food.
shorten somebody's business.
So that explains why in many cases we don't blow this trumpet. Because we are very mindful that we are in food business. Some of the issues are not things that really should cause people not to take milk. So I have told people we are supposed to do like that. If I'm an intelligence officer, I don't stand there that me, I'm intelligence, I have come. They will not give you intelligence information.
Yeah, true.
So the food sector requires that you have, there is a way you act, there is a way you work. And that's how we train our workers to do. Be very vigilant and detect anything that can disorganize the human health. Because you very well know that, Julius, our milk production system in this country, it's open. Unlike in Europe, where we have farms with closed production systems, an animal, a cow comes into the milking parlor, then the milk is sucked in a tube, and it goes in the tube, it goes in the tanker, then it is taken to the factory, and it is processed when it has not interfaced with air at all. But here, we produce our milk in Kazo, transport it to Mbalala in cans, coolers, and process in Mbalala, maybe to Kampala plant, in an open, and in that open business, anything can happen. Anything can happen. There could be adulteration. There could be dirty. There could even be deliberate terrorism, poisoning, deliberate. So our sector requires that we become so vigilant at every step of the value chain to ensure safety of this product. And I'm very glad that we have been able to do this game for now 21 years and no incident. Our product is admired, even to reach the American market, even to reach the Japanese market. So even right now, more markets are opening for us because of our robust regulatory system to ensure that milk is produced well by a healthy animal. Our extension system and doctors are working, farmers are doing a great job producing milk in a very clean way by a clean animal, transported in a clean manner, processed very well, and packaged. So this is the far we have come from, and the future is very bright for the sector.
All right, it seems you've started making great strides in just 21 years. We hope that all that is coming within the business would be better. Now, let's talk about the fluctuations in the milk production. What brings about this?
As I have told you, we still depend on nature for production, not only in milk, but also in other agricultural products. We depend on weather. When rain comes, of course, there's lush grass, there's enough food for the animals, they eat, and you get milk from the food the animals eat. So the more the food, the more the milk. So in wet season, you get a lot of lush grass, you get a lot of pastures, you get a lot of legumes growing, and it is a time when milk production goes up. In dry seasons, especially in the drier cattle corridor areas, we have semi-arid environments. The place has no grass, animals have little to eat, and then you have milk fluctuate. But it does not fluctuate very much, because in dry season, we can even go up to 1.5 to 2 billion liters. In dry season, we shoot 2.8 billion. So the fluctuation really is not very significant. And for our processors, we have learned how to adapt. Because in dry season, where you don't have milk, business is not good. But in wet season, where milk is very good, we encourage our processors to turn it into powder. And if you can recall, this year and last year, we have not had a lot of fluctuations in prices. Even right now, yesterday I talked to Chiboga in Duanero Cooperative. They told me, in Chankwanzi Cooperative, they told me now the farm gate price is at 1,350
a liter.
A liter. And it had never been there. It had never gone there. In the lowest of the production, the chairperson told me their maximum has been 1,000, but now it's 1,350. So farmers, of course, are challenged to see that they now change their production systems to keep the food for dry season. We have, and this is part of the campaign that we do. We have been able, government gives, through DDA, gives superior pasture seeds, and farmers who have managed it are able now to make their own hay and keep it and then feed it in dry season. We have given them better legumes, which gives more milk. So we are in transition. And farmers are learning very, very fast, because right now they know when business is good and they know when business is not very good. And they are preparing accordingly. And for processors, we guide them. We say, when we have plenty, concentrate on producing powder. Because powder has a longer shelf life, and it can reach distant markets. And for the last 2 years, we have seen processors do that. And even when milk is too much, we have not seen fluctuation of prices, because the price is a function of demand and supply. So when they are producing more powder takes a lot of fresh milk. For each kilogram of powdered milk, you need 10 liters of milk. So that means when you are producing powder, you are consuming a lot of milk. And when you are consuming a lot of milk, that is demand. And when demand is high, supply, of course, is stable, you don't see prices fluctuate. So we are, as a sector, trying to guide to see how the price can be stabilized at all levels in the production cycle throughout there. And I think we are succeeding. If now we have milk going at 1,350 liters of milk, shillings per liter. If COVID was not there, if we did not get disturbance, some of our colleague countries closing their borders, restricting our milk entering their market, I thought by this time our farm gate would be at 1,500, even to 2,000. But because of COVID, all schools are closed, children are not consuming milk. universities are closed, and these are high volume consumers of milk. For example, I sit on Tadesse School board. We feed our children 500 to 600 liters of milk every day in their
600.
breakfast and their tea. So now imagine one school feeding 600. And how many schools are in this country?
Exactly.
So if all of them are in session, they consume significant amount of
liters.
Liters. And the more demand that you have, then the more price stability that you have. So with schools closed, with COVID in, hotels are not working, or have not been working at their capacities. People are not traveling. Restaurants are not working a lot. With our neighbors destabilizing our market entry and exit, and now you still have 1,300 per liter. Suppose all those roadblocks are not there, would be at 2,000. So I can comfortably say that the future of the dairy sector is very bright. And I encourage everybody to engage in production of milk. Our big campaign now is on producing more milk, transiting from the traditional way of rearing animals to a more modern production where animals are fed. An animal is like a factory. If you give it, it gives you. If you give it a good environment, even play music for it as you milk it, it will give you more milk. So we are encouraging people to transit to modern methods of farming and produce more milk because the opportunities are there.
All right. So what is the Dairy Development Authority working on right now? Because every Ugandan would know you've spoken about the fluctuations. You've talked about how milk was in scarcity in 1971, coming to now 2.8 billion liters that you are producing right now as a country. What are you working on as DDA?
As a DDA, we are working on several strategic issues. The first one is to make sure these achievements we have had in production, these achievements we have had in regulation. When I say, Julius, when I say that my product goes to America, when I say that my product goes to Japan, when I say that my product goes to India, these are very lucrative markets and are very, very sensitive with stringent restrictions. It means you're doing a good job. The dairy business is like a bridegroom looking for a bride. If you are a handsome young man and you are looking for a beautiful girl, a handsome young man is a country with its money, like America, like Japan. They have strong economies, they have money, people are sensitive to what they eat, and they are looking for a product. The product, milk, is a beautiful girl. If a handsome young man like you goes to a family and finds there is no war, there is no strategy to keep the girl safe, there is no protection, this girl goes wherever she wants and comes, no regulation at all, you'll be sure the suitor will not take your girl.
I know.
So that is how business. If you want to reach far in the market, have stringent regulatory system.
And be followed.
Stringent, that is regulatory system. That is robust, that is sensitive, that is swift to respond to any emergency. This is what we are trying to build going forward. To ensure that whoever thinks about our product craves for it. You see, whoever sees and takes our product craves for it. You can be sure there are nations which I don't want to talk about. If they say there is a product coming from this country. You feel in your heart.
Yeah, is it genuine, really?
But if you feel this product is American market, American product, when I travel to America, I buy some clothes. There are clothes I have had for about 15 years. I still put them on. They are still the best. But the nations I visited, and you buy clothes. And then these clothes, after washing twice, the clothes do what? Fade. So that is how the sector is. The more you are strict in your systems, and these systems should be auditable. People should see you doing them. The more you are strict, the more you are robust, the more you give your information, the more you respond to your information, the more they know you're credible. This is credible. So the product is credible. So our milk penetrating lucrative market is a very, very big sign of confidence. First of all, for our government, which has liberalized and ensured that the regulatory system is autonomous, is accountable, and auditable. That is a very big credit to the government. Because otherwise, the government would not care. And when it doesn't care, things go wrong. But right now, I must tell you how sensitive this sector is. We work very, very closely with government to ensure our product is superior on the market. And this one, I will not talk about it. Because as I speak right now, you may have heard in media, we are entering the Algerian lucrative market. Very big market. Very big market. About 500 billion. Milk only. These are very rich people. They are coming for milk. So the more we penetrate market, the more we need to be stringent in our systems. So this is what we are doing right now. We have even taken it a step further. We have said now, if you take a milk sample, go to the laboratory, then to go to take results from where you have picked the milk, sometimes after 3 days or 4 days. This is a perishable product. Will milk be waiting for you? Government has invested in mobile laboratories. You will see these vans fitted with every equipment to test the milk. We drive to your farm, we take the sample, give you results here and there, say the content are not right. There is this metal, there is this antibiotic at the farm, and give you that instantly. And we correct it there and then before even it goes to the market. We drive to anywhere, any road, put a roadblock. Whoever is passing, we test the milk, then we give you results. To me, that is very stringent. That is very, very serious. And government very soon, we want to make sure that almost every region, every district where there is a lot of milk, we have that capacity. We right now have few distributed in the regions in our country, but we want to increase them and then equip them with even more superior equipment and more technical people. You have seen advert, we have advertised in the paper. Very technical, highly trained people who look at the milk, interpret results, and can do many, many parameters and give you results there and then. And tell you, we even tell you how much water you have added. If you add 2 liters, we say tell you have added 10%, 20%, 30%. Yesterday, in one of our operations in Chivoga, we found somebody had added 30% of the water in the milk. 30% means if he has 10 liters, he has added 3 liters. It was just white liquid. And this you are taking the consumers? No, we shall not allow that. So one of the things we are working on is even to make our regulatory system even stronger, equip our labs, improve the parameters we are looking for when we test, such that our milk quality is unmatched in the whole of Africa. Another thing we are working on very much is that we want to increase even production of milk more. Where we have come from 20 million in 1971, now we are at 2.8 billion. And we are getting more market. When these corona issues and these get off and we start ferrying our milk to Algeria, to Malawi, to Zambia, where markets have come, we shall have no milk to sell. So it is very strategic that we begin to have programs that help production of more milk. And as I've told you, encouraging our farmers transit from traditional ways of producing milk to modern ways of producing milk, to reach even places where cows never existed. In mountains, in Solo, in Ubududa, we have visited and we are working with farmers to ensure that we start producing milk there. So that as a strategy, we look at how we are looking at how we produce more milk. Giving people superior animals or helping them cross. As I speak, the Honorable Minister, Honorable Bright Rwamirama of Animal Industry, has already directed that every cooperative will train people to do artificial insemination, and the government equips them, give them superior semen, give them equipment to be able to improve, to enable anybody who wants to improve his herd, be able to get a semen in an effort to produce more milk for the coming in market. Another thing we are trying to do is reducing post-harvest losses. Reducing post-harvest loss, Julius, means when you see the milk that is produced to milk that is marketed, there is a loss in between. The loss in between comes as a result of the cold chain in most cases. Because milk is highly perishable. If you produce it, for example, here in Ntinda, and the factory is in Masaka, in some cases, before you reach Masaka, it is already bad. So you need a cold chain, you need to cool it to be able to stop multiplication of bacteria so that you can get time to take it to the market. As I speak, we have about 22.5% of all the milk produced that is wasted, either through that process. Some people even produce it, but they cannot reach the market, the cooler where it is. So the government is working to rehabilitate as many as possible all the milk infrastructure, installing coolers. And this is where we have a problem, I must tell Ugandans. We have a lot of properties in the whole country, which the government is trying to rehabilitate. But in most cases, our land has been grabbed. We have cases in Mubende, we have cases in Jinja, we have cases in many parts of this country. These are all structures which area governments had built. But because animals got stolen, especially in the northeastern country, there was no milk. So we have some of these facilities there. They are built and they are distinct for direct operation of Rogego. They are very distinct. But people are taking them. We have got somebody in Njeru, here just before the bridge. He just demolished it, removed our cooler. So we are having a challenge to have some of these properties rehabilitated because their land has been taken. But it is a strategy of government through DDA to rehabilitate them and then improve the cold infrastructure so that we are able to reduce the post-harvest losses. Our focus is a single-digit figure, at least up to 5%, which could be perceivable. This is one of the things we are doing. ensuring we rehabilitate. We are now rehabilitating Chegegwa. We are going to Kahunje. We have finished rehabilitating Soroti. We are rehabilitating Kitugum. We have rehabilitated Ngola. We have already equipped it with equipment and very many others. We have about 40 remaining in the country, and because of budgetary constraints, every year we take bits and pieces. In Nabiswela, we already have money to do it. Here in Ruwero, in Nakasongora. So, but it's a strategy to ensure that we improve the infrastructure for cold chain so that we don't lose as much milk.
Yes. Thank you so much, Doctor. We will be coming back with challenges like any other company would be having. The challenges that befit and also befalls the Dairy Development Authority. But we'll be talking about all this after the break. Stick with us.
On Tuesday, 24th of August, 2021, don't miss a special talk show giving an insight on improving milk production and consumption in Uganda under the theme, Quality and Safe Milk for Health and Wealth. Did you know the volume of a human brain is approximately 1.4 liters on average? Your child will have to compete academically. Learn more on ULesson. Download ULesson. Learn for free.
Introducing AfriCell Sabuda Bundle. Dial *134#. Pick a bundle for as low as 5,000 shillings and get 1 GB, 25 minutes to call other networks, and 25 minutes for AfriCell calls. Don't just load bundle for Sabuda Bundle. AfriCell, connecting communities. AfriCell is regulated by Ghana Communications Commission.
OneXBet operates under Advanced Gaming Limited and is licensed and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board. Betting is addictive and can be psychologically harmful, and it is eligible to persons above 25 years of age.
Hi there, my name is Anne-Marie and I host the Next Top 20 on 106.1 Next Radio every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. And I just wanted to remind you that this pandemic isn't forever, but how long it lasts is entirely up to you. Mask up, wash your hands as much as possible, and stay home unless you absolutely have to. COVID doesn't spread itself. Stay safe, Eugene.
My home, I smile when I think of you, Uganda. My home, my home, I dance when I look at you, Uganda. My home, oh my Uganda.
I know with you I'll always stay forever. I know, because I feel that we belong together. My home, under the sun so bright, under the moon at night, on my heart, mommy, oh my Uganda.
Hey, mama.
My Uganda.
Oh,
At MTN, we look forward to starting another exciting journey together to grow our home, Uganda.
NBS Television and Nextcom remain your unrivaled platforms for webinars, e-conferences and high-level talk shows, debates, product launches and more. The COVID-19 pandemic should be no reason to halt your communication with your clients. Talk to us today via info@nextmedia.co.ug or by call 0788 633 352. NBS always. Nextcom, making digital work.
ensi yonna eri ku bunkenge bwa covid-19 naye okimanyi tusobola okumalawo obulwadde buno singa tugoberera buli kimu ekitugambibwa abasawo n'ab'ebyobulamu. Covid ffe tumutambuza, teyeetambuza yekka.
Times might have changed, but business has to continue. Next Conference Center will help you transition to the new normal of doing things. For virtual events, e-conferences, debates, product launches, and so much more, we provide you with the best the new normal has to offer. High-definition LED screens, crystal clear audio, and state-of-the-art streaming technology. Our in-house production team will ensure your event is safe, smooth, and flawless. Located in Naguru, Kampala, call us on 0776 444 220 and let's do your next event. NCC, Next Conference Center. On Tuesday, 24th of August 2021, don't miss a special talk show giving an insight on improving milk production and consumption in Uganda under the theme Quality and Safe Milk for Health.
Back here watching NBS Television, we are having a special talk show on the insights of production and consumption of milk in Uganda. The Executive Director of the Dairy Development Authority of Uganda here in studio discussing the insights of how milk can be consumed and produced safely in Uganda. Before we went for a break, we're talking about what they are doing right now. Briefly, we shall go back to that and then also tap onto the challenges in the sector. Doctor.
So thank you so much, Julius, again. And on what we are working on now, I've already said we are becoming more stricter, improving our systems to regulate better. We are working very much to reduce the post-harvest losses by improving the cold chain infrastructure all over the country. And we are trying to professionalize the dairy value chain at every segment. As you very well know, milk is a highly perishable product. It must be handled in a very special way by special people. So we want to make sure that everybody that has interface with milk in the process is professional. What do I mean? We want to make sure that farmers know how to produce clean milk, the cleanest of the milk, by showing them how to take care of a cow that will give you clean milk, how to treat it, how to give it an environment that will enable it to give you clean milk. Want to make sure that the farmer is well aware and trained professionally how to handle this milk. What type of utensil do you use? Do you use a jerrycan? Do you use a calabash? Do you use a gourd? Do you use a chanzi? We are teaching them and even giving them examples. We have even given them aluminum cans to be able to demonstrate the kind of utensil we want this milk to be carried in. Then once the farmer is professional and is able to give you a milk from the gate that is clean, then the next point would be how that milk is transported from the farm to the milk collecting center. Who is doing it? They call it the mabachunda. Do they know what they are doing? Are they professional in the way they handle milk? Like, for example, when you are handling a gun, they don't give you a gun when you have not learned it, how to shoot it, how to stop it, how to clean it. You must be a professional soldier to handle a gun. So is to handle milk. You must be a professional milkman if you are to handle milk. So that's what we are doing at the farm, and as that trans level to the milk collecting center, the bulking center. Who is receiving it? Is he a milk technician, or is just somebody who is handling tonto or marwa or anything? He must be professional in conduct, in the way he tests, in handling equipment. He must be professional there at the time of collection. Then from collection to transportation to the processor, where they have bulked and they are taking it to the processor. Who is driving this milk? The driver who has milk behind him driving. Does he know the issues of milk? We need him to be professional. And then at processing level. So in all that, we want to ensure at every segment, whoever is in touch with milk is professional. People to repair the equipment of milk. If a milk cooler, for example, gets a problem, who repairs it? We don't have to go to Kenya to get somebody to do it. That's why we are revamping our direct training center to offer those services and raise professionals at every level of the milk segment. We are working on that. We want our milk, the whole chain from the cow to the table. We want it to be excellent. And that will improve efficiency, it will improve consumer confidence, and we shall reach distant markets for that. So we are working on that, professionalizing every segment of the value chain. We are trying to roll out the cottage industry. People who are producing a lot more milk, encouraging them and even capacitating them where possible with the mini processing equipment in doing cheese, in doing yogurts, in doing ice cream, in doing chocolates and milk-based products. You could have seen some of the cheese around. We discussed, you said you have seen somebody doing very good cheese in Kamocha. There are very many brands that are coming up, Ugandan brands. If you go to the supermarket, you no longer see Switzerland, Netherlands. You just begin to see Ugandan cheese coming up. That's a deliberate effort. Working with a few who can invest in cottage industry. And this cottage industry, somebody who is going, for example, to make cheese, we want to first give him an exposure in our incubation center in Tebe. Other incubation centers of government, like Industrial Research Institute and others in the country, to be able to teach and train this person so that when he goes to make the cheese, the yogurt, the ice cream, the butter, he's already professional. So deliberately, we are rolling out the cottage industry and encouraging, especially cooperatives. This year, we are supporting Kawari Chigezi Cooperative Society with processing equipment. We are supporting Duaniro with processing equipment. About 3 or 4 we are supporting this year. Last year we supported some. The other year, but it's a deliberate effort of government to ensure that we increase as many people who can process. We are trying out to all the stakeholders in the business. We are trying to raise their capacity and improve their capacity to handle milk. And we are working this with very many stakeholders, We have SNV, which is a very, very strong partner with us that is through their Tide project with the ENK fund, and they are helping us a lot to do some of this, improve the milk, quality of the milk, production of the milk, especially in southwestern Uganda. And then lastly, promoting consumption of milk. As a matter of fact, it is not wise for anybody not to drink milk. Because when I was in Kazo recently, I'm sorry to say this, but some old men told me that we drank milk, now we no longer drink milk because they make stomach upsets, what. No. Everybody needs milk. Every child needs milk. A child who does not drink milk, from the time is born up to 2 years, that child will never develop its potential. Because protein from milk is so important. That's why we have to breastfeed your children. So no wonder in Uganda right now we have 2.4 million children who are stunted. And stuntedness, the medicine is milk. So we want to deliberately promote consumption of milk. Water can be drunk because water is good. Like now I'm drinking water. I need it. The mouth dry, it is. But I must make sure that every day I consume at least a liter of milk. Every day.
At least a liter.
At least a day. If you get stomach upsets, that means you are lactose intolerant. You look for a yogurt. And we are trying to work with the processors. Actually, when we stabilize out of this and the budget allows, we are going to put on, we are going to start a product innovation award, all the processors. And how many products have you innovated and put on the market? In many countries, they fortify milk. They add in more nutrients, they add in more vitamins, they add more minerals, to the extent that when you go to the hospital and they find your calcium levels are low, they say you go and drink this brand of milk because it has more calcium that you need other than taking medicine. This is where we are going, promoting and boosting local consumption. And I want to make appeal to all Ugandans listening to me here. If you have an opportunity, maybe you are a board member in the school, maybe you are a PTA member in the school, please let's ensure that our children drink milk at school when they open. Make sure that your children drink milk. They can put it in the porridge, they can take it as a standalone tea, but every person must drink milk. We're having a program, the school milk feeding program, which our partner SNV has supported us very greatly. Want to ensure that at least every child in this country gets access to milk. It has been done in other countries, and that would help boost our consumption, per capita consumption in this country, which is still very low. Right. So there are many things we are working on, but for the sake of time and to allow other themes to come, let me stop there.
All right. What are the opportunities available in the subsector, in the dairy subsector for investment as we conclude all this?
As I have told you, we produce 2.8 billion liters of milk. So that translates to about 7.4 million liters every day. All the milk Uganda produces every day, 7.4 million liters. Out of these 7.4 million liters, if you add all the capacities of the processors that we have, got 2.8 million liters of milk. So 2.8 million liters of milk every day is processed, but we produce 7.4. So there is a very big gap of about 4 million liters plus, which is not processed. So the first opportunity that is there is in processing, because we still have milk that is not processed. We have milk which is sold raw. And it is very, very important that you pasteurize the milk before you drink it. Because there are some diseases which we share with animals, like brucellosis, TB, all those things. So it is very, very important for Ugandans. It is very, very important that every time you want to drink milk, it must be pasteurized. Do not drink milk that is not pasteurized. So we have a lot of opportunity in pasteurization. Even these milk booths that we have, we say raw milk, it should be pasteurized. And there are new technologies which have come, which can pasteurize the milk easily, without temperature, without temperature. So we want to explore all that to ensure that as we make milk safer for everybody to take, all those technologies are used and milk is safer even at the booth.
How do you compare Uganda's milk subsector with the neighboring countries?
Oh my God. The Ugandan milk sector is unmatched in the whole world. It's unmatched in the whole world. Because of the following reasons, my brother. You see, many countries, when you go to Kenya, here, you're not very far. The way they produce their milk is very different. When you go to Netherlands, these developed countries, the way they produce their milk is very different. Especially on the feed, they feed the animals. Some feeds are manufactured in the factories. Some are products of meat to give protein. You had what happened in Europe when there was BSE disease, bovine encephalitis, this disease which killed a lot of animals. As a result of feeding the animals on the animal feed. They kill a cow, when the cow dies, they crush it, they add the food, the meat in the food for the cows. But our country, Uganda, being gifted by nature, and our soils are volcanic, they are very rich. Like, for example, when you go to Chisolo, when you go to Eragon, the milk is very different because the soils are richer, very organic soils. So the grass has a lot of minerals, has a lot of, so is the milk. So we produce our milk organically, and actually that explains why everybody in those lucrative markets, they want our milk. Because there is no pollution, there are no pollutions in the air, it's just clean milk. So like you drive the village, you feel the environment good. And that environment is good for animals too. So there are no pollutions in the air, there are no pollutions in the water. The grass is just rich in minerals, of organic, volcanic minerals, and then the milk is very superior.
All right.
That's what makes our milk unique.
Okay,
Dr. And we shall enjoy that privilege as long as Uganda lives, because we are gifted by nature.
All right, Doctor, as we conclude, what could be your last remarks in terms of dairy consumption and production in Uganda?
My biggest message this morning is tell whoever is listening to me that Uganda's milk product is superior to any other product of milk that you get on the shelf of any supermarket when you travel or when you are here in this country. Because of those competitive advantages I've told you, our cows feeding on organic grass, volcanic soils, minerals are richer in our grass, so is our milk. It is very important that we need to support this sector. The sector which has been transformed in a record of 21 years, from the time of scarcity, importation of powdered milk, reconstituting itself, to producing 2.8 billion liters of milk to meet all our demand in the country, and to have excess for export. Last year we got 205 million US dollars, which translates to about 780 billion Ugandan shillings in our exports. It is a sector support. It's a sector support because of that miracle. That supports about 2.4 million households in this country, especially those in the cattle corridor. 2.4 million households are very, very many. In Uganda, we are about how many? 7 or 8 million households? If each household has 7 people, 2.4 million households, this translates to about 15 million Ugandans. So 15 million Ugandans, they derive their livelihood from the dairy cow, from the animal. That's the sector to support. A sector which brings in foreign money. A sector which penetrates unpenetratable market. A sector which supports 15 million people. A sector which gives you money every day. By the way, that's why it is called dairy. Every day. It should have been called dairy, but they call dairy. Every day there is money. When your cow, I'm a farmer myself. When your cow has delivered, it will not fail to give you milk before it's Christmas. Whether it's Christmas, whether it's Eid, whether your neighbor has died, or even there is a death in the house, the milk will always be there. It will not give, there is no break. So this is a sector to support. I really want to appeal Ugandans, especially those who are in positions of leadership, politically, economically, to as much as possible support the dairy sector, thrive even more.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Michael Kansimbi, the Executive Director of the Dairy Development Authority, here discussing the insights on the distribution, consumption, and of course, production of milk in this nation. From only 20 million liters of milk in 1971 to now 2.8 billion liters. That is a big stride over the 21 years that this authority has managed to pull over from the Uganda Dairy Corporation to now Dairy Development Authority. What a wonderful way to end this very morning. My name is Julius Buchana. Thank you so much for watching us. More of the discussion of this topic will be on social media at NBS Television on Twitter and of course on YouTube. This broadcast will be uploaded, and follow us on Facebook as well at NBS Television. Good morning.